What you are about to see is different than any extreme sports program you have ever seen before. We have combined some of Europe's most creative and unique filmmakers with extreme sports enthusiasts from around the world to bring you an artistic approach towards the extreme sports phenomenon. Each director uses a different style to create an extreme sports masterpiece that not only captivates you, but gives you a unique insight into the mind of the director for a completely different view we call virtual reality extreme sports. We will cover the four elements: air, land, water, and snow in a sight and sound extravaganza. Now, sit back for a sample of the complete virtual reality extreme sports collection.
The bobsled has always been a fascinating apparatus, and even more so as seen through the eyes of a cat. An exceptionally polished vision by talented director Sébastien Chantrel. Direction, speed, precision. Bobsledding at its best. The air chair is a strange machine. Equipped with a hydrofoil, theoretically the air chair makes it possible to water ski while sitting comfortably, but not when its creator rides it. We might call this sequence How to Fly Over Coconut Trees and Do Somersaults While Sitting Down. nothing like a giant fan to recreate the sensations of free fall. This one seems more like a nuclear reactor than a fan. Who but Americans would come up with this giant hairdryer?
Among all the fun and extreme sports invented by man, free falling is undoubtedly one of the most difficult to learn. Why? Because it is practically impossible to recreate the parameters of a free fall on the ground. Difficult under these conditions to perfect this discipline. At first, the system used by astronauts to learn to move around in a weightless environment was tried. An efficient system, yet it does not duplicate the aerodynamic pressure generated by a free fall. So, free fall enthusiasts have put together this devil of a machine, their own wind tunnel. It's very similar to the machine used by astronauts, with one difference. The fans are positioned vertically so that the giant fan produces a resistance to the air similar to that of a falling body. Of course, an enormous wire net covers the fan to protect the training athletes. Now all it takes is adjusting the power of the engine so that the force of the wind allows the bodies to remain suspended in the air. Now training can begin. The wind tunnel allows beginners who have never experienced a free fall to get used to the exercise. The advantage is that the instructor can go into the tunnel with the beginner. Before doing any acrobatics, he must learn to stabilize his body and then to turn and move around. A difficult exercise, especially when an incredibly strong aerodynamic force hits you full face. The last exercise, training with others. The wind tunnel allows you to rehearse the figures that will later be performed at 3,000 meters.
Parasailing professionals have decided to spice up their machines. Pulled by a boat, they then release the hooks for a free flight and a series of figures that only the proximity of water permit.
snow. Now, let's drop the temperature. Make snow part of your collection. Classic duels between man and ice. See a brand new approach to snow surfing with triple somersaults and a new version of bobsledding head first. Solo glacier climbs by nature are perilous, as the danger of simply hanging on is dwarfed by progressing. Experience the outright danger of parachute skiing and snowboarding by multi-talented masters of the slopes. Ski jumping creates the briefest but most intense emotions. This tape is an exceptionally polished vision from French film directors. Courage and a touch of insanity is what it takes to leap off into space. There's no turning back. At the end of the ramp, the skier plays his last card and defies the laws of physics. Skiing without skis, mogul hopping in the Alps, one of skiing's most delicate art forms, not for the faint of heart. Snow. This volume will put chills down your spine. Water. There's no challenge that these incredible aquatic daredevils can't take. Water sports like you've never seen them before, from incredible camera angles. From Tahiti, slide and glide fanatics will be fascinated by astounding skiboard techniques towed by helicopter. An impressive set of muscles and an inherent sense of balance is what it takes to master the sport of barefoot skiing. If that's not enough, try it while being pulled by helicopter. Amazing Pro Tour skiing maneuvers from North America to Europe's finest demonstrate the supreme agility of these athletes and push them to their limit and beyond. From kneeboards and slalom skiing to incredible ski jumps, the Pro Tour is the best of the best. Catch some big air jet skiing with some of the finest jet ski riders in the world as they demonstrate amazing tricks with incredible precision. Windsurf on Hawaii's North Shore, where waves break, sometimes boards and bodies break. Join world champion barefoot skier Ron Scarpa for a high-speed barefoot run you have to see to believe. Water. Submerge yourself in these unrelenting events. Land. 12 different categories are jam-packed into this incredible 60-minute tape. Gymnastics with a twist. Get out into the open air in the middle of the Grand Canyon for an unusual look at this graceful sport. BMX bikes. Get air and experience incredible feats of strength and balance as these experts of the BMX demonstrate their amazing techniques. Witness the concept of balance as the skateboard becomes the platform for some amazing techniques in this freestyle skateboard exhibition. High in the French Alps, world champion trampoline artists strive to go higher and higher. Barefoot style sand skiing being towed by helicopter. At this speed, the sand turns into dangerous sandpaper. Experience the thrill of free falling while still on the ground in a giant wind tunnel. A bridge and a long elastic bungee cord is all that is needed for the ultimate thrill. Sand surf the desert dunes and ride the wall of death on classic Harleys at amazing speeds. Land covers it all, unleashing the depths of your imagination. Now let's take to the air. An 8-mile-high human free fall screaming towards the earth. Bungee jump from a hot air balloon thousands of feet in the air, then follow it up with a free fall. Combine ballet and skydiving for a dance in the sky as we take you higher and faster than you were meant to go as you ride the air and experience the ultimate adrenaline rush. Experience extreme speed in the Mirage 2000. Explosive maneuvers and techniques taking you to new heights. Take a ride in the Cap 230 stunt plane. Not only do aerial acrobatics require an exceptional pilot, but also an exceptional aircraft, as this plane is pushed to its threshold, nearly 9 Gs. A unique style of skiing in the sky when adrenaline is high and snow is low. Sky skiing is not recommended for the faint of heart. Sky surfers ride the wind to speeds of 200 kilometers per hour. A word of warning, take a deep breath before jumping. Go to new heights as you witness amazing parasailing tricks and techniques. This tape takes you up and brings you down in the most sinister of all the elements, altitude. Order the entire Extreme Sports collection today and receive shipping and handling absolutely free. That's right, over a $20 savings. Or you can order any issue for only $19.95 each, plus shipping and handling. Don't delay. Complete your collection today. Credit card orders call 1-800-213-3456. That's 1-800-213-3456. Or send $19.95 each, plus $5.95 shipping and handling to IMC Videos. P.O. Box 1271, Springfield, Missouri 65801.